I'm sure that many of you at this point will have heard of the Black Sabbath Farewell Show that has just been announced. I'm going to be talking a bit about that in a second. But also this week, I've been to a few gigs myself, so I'm going to do a bit of a mini gig review after that as well. So I went to see Cattle Decapitation, and yesterday I went to see the mighty Madball. So we'll do a bit of a gig review, and also at the end of that, if anyone's left or gives a shit, I'll talk about what's coming up. I'm sure none of you... Yes, my surroundings, you may notice, are a bit different to what you are used to. That's because I'm looking after my parents' place while they're away. Don't know why I felt the need to mention that, but anyway, I received a text from my good friend, the godlike Mr. Stevens, who informed me of this gig. I mean, I'd have found out about it myself anyway, so do I give too much credit? So, the original Black Sabbath, and yes, that does include Bill Ward, are reuniting for one show on Saturday the 5th of July at Villa Park in Birmingham. And this is, I believe it's going to be a charity event. And the lineup on this is pretty crazy. This is definitely a gig that I want to go to. Now, I've already noticed that online there's been a ton of mixed reactions on this one already. I kind of knew that there would be. You've got some people who are immediately going to the, oh great, another farewell tour, milking it for everything we can. Sharon needs a new facelift, all this sort of stuff. In this case, I kind of could believe that this actually is the farewell tour. I think it's fair to say that Ozzy's health is nowhere near what it used to be. I'm interested to see how he gets through this myself. But it really genuinely wouldn't surprise me if this was actually the band saying goodbye in their hometown of Birmingham. And this is definitely a gig that I want to go through. Now, I do have some thoughts on this. This is just speculation on my part for how this is going to play out. But we've got quite a lineup here. We've, of course, got Black Sabbath headlining. I was very surprised to see that Ozzy Osbourne is actually doing a set of his solo stuff. That actually surprised me for reasons we'll get into in a bit later. But so we got Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, Gojira, Alice in Chains, Hailstorm, Lamb of God, Anthrax, and Mastodon. That's quite a lineup. That is quite a lineup. Now, I'm wondering if this is going to be something akin to the Freddie Mercury tribute from 1992. Those of you who are old enough, like me, will remember that. That's way too many bands to play on one day and do like 40, 50-minute sets. So I'm wondering if it's going to be similar to the Freddie Mercury tribute, and maybe that each of these bands come out and does 2 or 3 songs, then it's on to the next band pretty soon after that, and all sorts of video footage and all that sort of stuff in between, kind of like really celebrating the life of Black Sabbath. But I also just mentioned how I was a bit surprised that Ozzy was going to do a full set on his own beforehand, and that is because of all the additional performances that we're getting. I'm going to go through all these in a minute, but I was actually kind of surprised at how many of these are vocalists, because my initial thought was, again, like the Freddie Mercury tribute, maybe they were going to have guest vocalists coming in and singing with Sabbath, maybe doing the first hour or something like that, and then Ozzy doing the final hour, the final send-off kind of thing, kind of to take the pressure off of Ozzy. But as I said, he's doing his solo stuff as well, so I don't know. But the additional performances, we've got Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins, David Draiman, Duff McKagan, Fred Durst, Lizzie Hale, Jake E. Lee, Jonathan Davis. I know that Ozzy had great things to say about Jonathan. I think Jonathan was one of the first people to go out of his way when Ozzy had his recent health issues. Jonathan was the first one to offer support and said that he was there whenever he needed. I know they got a good friendship, those guys. KK Downing, Mike Bordin from Faith No More, of course, and he used to play in Ozzy's band. Papa V. Perpetuity from Ghost. Rudy Zazo, Sammy Hagar, / Sleep Token 2 in brackets Sleep Token. Don't know what that means. I don't know if I don't really know much about Sleep Token, to be honest with you. Tom Morello and Wolfgang Van Halen. So it's certainly a stacked bill. This is not going to be a cheap ticket, that's for damn sure. I mean, not only have you got Sabbath and Ozzy playing separately, but because you've got Metallica and Pantera there, you've also got Robert Trujillo and Zakk Wylde So I'm wondering if they're going to also then come on and play with Ozzy later on. That could be the sort of thing. As it's already mentioned, Mike Bordin is there. So he's definitely going to be there for the drums. But yeah, I'm wondering how much of this is going to be a lot of these additional performances kind of jamming with the band. Like I said, maybe it's a way of helping Ozzy out. I mean, you know, maybe he can still do it. I don't know. It'd be great if he could. But yeah, I'm wondering how much of this is going to be a lot of these other guests coming in, and maybe, it kind of makes sense. It gives Ozzy a break as we're going through the show. But there's no way getting around it. This is a hell of a lineup, that's for damn sure. I am definitely going to be trying to get tickets for this. I cannot see this one being a cheap one. I can see it selling out really quickly. But I want to know your thoughts on this one. I know like I said, there are a lot of people who are kind of shitting on it immediately, saying, oh, this is a cash grab. This is, Sharon sticking her nose in, trying to get one final performance out of him. But I don't know. One final Sabbath gig in Birmingham, it kind of makes sense to me. None of them are getting any younger. Bill Ward has already been excluded from some of the previous stuff due to his health issues. So if he's in a state that he can come in and play this, then along with Ozzy and the rest of them, then I'm all for it. I was lucky enough to see the original Sabbath when they reformed in the late 90s. I think it was maybe November, December 97 when they played at the NEC. I went to one of those shows. It was a great gig, and I saw them the following year when they headlined Ozfest. Ozfest 98. That was a great bill as well. They had Slayer, Fear Factory, Pantera. Foo Fighters, I think, were playing. That was when they were, just starting out. Crazy, really. Yeah, that was a hell of a gig. Seeing Sabbath live, experiencing those songs, just, through that massive PA system, that's not to be shunned at. So, yeah, there's a lot of the bands as well. I mean, Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, Gojira, Alice in Chains, Hailstorm, Lamb of God, Anthrax, and Mastodon. That is quite a fucking bill. No matter which way you look at it, that's crazy. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be trying to get my tickets for this. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this one. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Do you think it's just an exploitation thing? I think this is cool. Words. They're fucking hard, aren't they? Decapitation. So, if any of you fucks are still around, let's go and do some mini gig reviews here. Anyone who's following me on Instagram, and I know many of you don't, many of you will know that I've been to a couple of gigs this week because you've reacted to my Instagram posts. I also know that many of you don't. On Friday, 31st of January, I went to see Cattle Decapitation at the Marble Factory in Bristol. It was a great show. Who was it? It was opening. Unfortunately, I got there too late to see the first two bands. It was a real bastard. It was quite early doors. It was 5:30 that it opened. The first band went on at 5:55, which is a real downer. I couldn't get there until the second to last band, but the opening band, Vulvodynia, very nice name, that one, and Revocation. Sadly, I missed. I have checked them out, and they are great bands. It's a real shame that I didn't get to check them out. However, I did get there in time for Shadow of Intent. They put on a hell of a show. They sounded amazing. They have a very, I guess there's a symphonic element to what they do, but it's more on the lines of Devin Townsend. That huge wall of sound, a lot going on, straight up death metal, real heavy band. The vocalist Insane is not dissimilar actually to Travis Ryan from Cattle Decap. Very, very talented vocalist with a lot of range, and they sounded absolutely amazing. They got a couple of pits going. I've got some footage of that now. Bang, 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 bang. Not there. Fantastic band. I regret not getting a t-shirt now, but I did get one for Cattle Decapitation. If I can show you that. That's a pretty cool t-shirt. I love the back. I've just worn this, so it might be sweaty. Tonight we're going to party like it's 1349. Fucking great. That's going in the wash. And of course, Cattle Decapitation were up next, headlining the show. And they were They were fucking great. Travis Ryan is just a rock star. There's some people that just have that X factor about them. He's got a real great personality, incredible vocalist, interacted with the crowd well, doesn't seem to take himself too seriously. Just, you know, there are certain characters that you're just drawn to. They were just amazing. The only complaint I had, it did seem a little bit washed out, the sound at times. You know, it's very difficult to do that very technical music in a live venue. I mean, I've seen Mastodon tons of times over the years, and quite often their sound has been hit and miss as well. You've got these bands with a lot of intricate playing going on, and sometimes it can kind of get lost within the noise, you know what I mean? But fantastic show. They put on a hell of a show. What else? What did we have in particular highlights? Of course, you had Scourge of the Offspring, Bring Back the Plague, Forced Gender Reassignment.
Forced Gender
Great band, great live. I had a great time. I'm doing my best at the moment to see at least one gig a month for this year. I wasn't going to too many gigs last year, and I want to rectify that. So that counted as my January, just January 31st. February 4th, yesterday at the time of filming this, I went to, the Exchange again in Bristol, and I saw Madball. Fuck yeah. Just... Can you see that? Can you? Madball. 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 And this was another cool show. The Exchange is a really cool venue. It's a 250 capacity venue, so it's a real small, intimate show. This was sold out, so it was just packed in there, which was actually perfect for this kind of a gig. There were 4 bands playing. Unfortunately, again, I missed the first band, NWP, I think they were called, so I can't talk too much about them. Peruvian Necktie were the next band. I think, from what I understand, the first 2 bands were local bands. I think they were like local hardcore bands. Next up was a band called Jawless. I believe they were from Mexico, I think the front woman said. They were a cool band, a lot of energy. Not necessarily the sort of thing that I would listen to myself, but the front woman was great, a lot of charisma. She put in a lot of energy. She really, really tried to get the crowd going. I've got some footage of that. Well, not that, but some footage of that. But there's Jawless. And then finally, Madball come on, and they just put on such a damn show. I had such a good time at the show. Freddie, as soon as he come out on stage, it's kind of like I was saying about Travis Ryan. Some people just have this X factor. He's just a fucking incredible performer. Total professional. As soon as he come on, he just whipped the crowd up. It's like, come on, motherfucker. You know what I mean? It was just like, let's go. The energy level that they had compared to all the rest of the bands, you could see why they were the ones who were just like, everyone was there to see them, and it was just fucking incredible. Such a good show. Any of you out there who are my age, which I know a lot of you fuckers are, may well have been introduced to Madball via the Times Are Changing video. I remember seeing that on Noisy Mothers back in the day, and like immediately I remember seeing it and like, whoa, these guys they mean it, they're real, you know what I mean? Yeah, so it was cool getting to see that live, and there were so many great songs. A lot of the set was dedicated to the Set It Off album. I know that turned 30 last year, and last year they were doing the 30th anniversary tour, so I guess there's they kind of brought a load more of that over into this recent tour, but they also played a load of stuff from Demonstrating My Style. They played Rev Up, Freight Train. Did they play Smile Now, Pay Later? I can't remember. From the latest album, For the Cause. And also they played Doc Martin's Stomp, which is a fucking great song. I love that. Freddie was also saying as well that they're in the middle of writing a new album. They're actually halfway through doing that, so we should get a new album from them this year, which is great. I fucking love Madball. I love hardcore. It was weird. It was a weird gig to go to, actually. As soon as I went in there, I kind of felt at home. It was kind of an odd feeling. I've definitely... The older I'm getting, the more hardcore means to me. I fucking love this style of music. Madball, never disappoint, incredible, absolutely loved it. If you ever get a chance to go and see him, go. Freddie was awesome, the band were awesome. But that'll do for the gig side of things. As for what I've got coming up, as a lot of you will remember, I put out a community post saying about doing a response video to the trolls. I am working on that one. That is taking me a lot longer than I thought, because I can guarantee you one thing, it is not going to be the video that you're expecting. But because of that, it's taken me a long time to put together. It will all make sense. I'm hoping that that will be out this weekend. More likely it will be next weekend. I'm struggling with kind of inspiration for videos at the moment. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to keep doing the top 10 stuff, but I know a lot of people enjoy them. I'm really not sure that I want to do reviews. There's so many other channels that do it. Quest for Metal actually made a great video not so long ago where he was talking about the idea of people doing album reviews when they've only had the chance to listen to the album a handful of times. And I have to admit, I kind of agree with him. For those of you who don't know, I used to have a channel called Free to Be Who I Be where I did hundreds of album reviews. And it's kind of a strange thing where you have to come up with some opinion on an album that you've not heard that much. Now, you can get early access to them sometimes, but, you know, more often than not, you don't. How many albums have you listened to over the years which you didn't initially like, but they went on to become your favourite album of all time? It's happened to me a lot, you know what I mean? So I'm not really sure if I want to bother with album reviews anymore. It's not really something that I get excited about doing. I love listening to the music. I love getting into it, but it's kind of nice to listen to the music and not have to worry about doing a fucking review for it. You know what I mean? That was a bit harsh. But anyway, that's enough whinging from me. The main point of this was to get your guys' opinion on the Black Sabbath show. I, for one, am really looking forward to it. Whether I get a ticket or not, I don't know. I will let you know about that. But yeah, I think that'll do. I'll leave you now. I say I'm leaving you now. I got bored and I'm finishing this video. I'll see you later. Bye. Trying to fucking make out I'm helping people.